Hello, welcome all. Welcome to Actual Play Deathmatch Island. Are we in phase 3, Tim, or are we still in phase 2?
We're back to phase 1. Very confusing.
Back to phase 1. Episode 3, Island 2, phase 1.
Yeah.
Players 4, contestants 3. Anyway, hi
Lot of
all.
numbers.
Lots of numbers coming at you fast. This is our third episode of Deathmatch Island. It has been a freaking riot. I am playing Calvin, now Zen Summers. I've decided that since production assigns these nicknames, Calvin just doesn't know why he has his nicknames after all. And maybe we'll play to find out. Maybe he'll just have to go without a nickname and try and get one of his own. I'm super excited to get back onto the island and to buck this system. As always, proceeds from the channel are split between Black Lives Matter and TLDEF, Trans Legal Defense and Defense. Man, I'm fumbling my acronyms.
Take two. Let's start from the top, you guys. Roll it again. Roll it. We'll start over.
Yes, we're splitting our funds to good causes. So if you want to hit the subscribe or like or cheer or whatever those buttons are, that's where they'll go. Thank you so much. And thank you as well, Karen, for saving me from sounding like I completely know what I was talking about. How are you?
I mean, it's what I try to do. Hello, I'm Karen 12s at K12s on social medias that still exist and might exist in the future. I'm playing Willow Wardog Snow, who is feeling pretty good about things after surviving Island 1, and we kind of crushed it at the first challenge of Island 2. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Mendez, what's up?
What's good? I'm James Mendez Hodes, he, him pronouns. I am playing as Diana Gandhi Dankworth, number 91. Who has by now figured out that Deathmatch Island is not a spin-off of the popular dating show Match Island, and is beginning to change her approach towards the challenges.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Or is it?
Yeah.
You did get the rose. It's not completely off the cards.
I did receive a rose.
You might still find love.
I mean, didn't we smell some sort of perfume?
Yeah.
And get the sense that some very ritzy, probably very attractive people were watching us in that one bunker, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's who left you the rose.
Yeah, it could have been Braden, Jaden, Graydon, Waden, Layden, any one of those guys.
What about you, Tim?
Hi, I'm Tim Denay. I'm Old Dog Games on Twitter, or olddog.games is the website where you can check out some of the things I have made, including this game, Deathmatch Island, which we are playtesting. It is a Paragon game, so it uses the same system from Agon by John Harper and Sean Nittner. And yeah, this is Session 3, Island 2, back to Phase 1. I guess a brief recap of last session. We sort of focused mainly on Phase 2 of Island 1, which is like the Battle Royale. Short version is you sort of left your allies to fend for themselves, Quincy's alliance. You saved Quincy's life, but I think many of her alliance died. You tried to kill Abthorpe unsuccessfully, and a rumor was put around that you are secretly working for production or your production plants or something, which you didn't stop that rumor. But you all survived, and you got in your boat, and you headed on to Island 2, which we made a start on. You decided to land at the water treatment facility, which was like a weird water maze, a lot of sort of low ceilinged tiled corridors and things. And yeah, you smashed it. You all succeeded against the intruders, who are these competitors who you haven't seen before, who suddenly appeared in purple blazers and turtlenecks. You smashed them, but Diana and Calvin did kind of lend a hand to them and built some trust. So you sort of have some ins with these outside intruders.
Now that I see the intruders, the image, I recognize that suit.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, and a lovely plum purple.
Tim, did it look like their suits were particularly tattered, like they might have been here for a while, or
No, they
did they look as
looked
fresh as ours?
fresh as yours, if not fresher.
Got it.
Because you've been
Got it.
through a whole island, so you're probably looking a bit worse for wear at this point. But
Right.
these were some
Calvin
lovely.
definitely is. He looks like
Yeah.
hell. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, why don't we start with just to check in with each competitor? You're kind of leaving the water treatment facility. You're probably soaking wet. This whole island, contrasted to the first island, this is all sort of cold, subpolar. There's the grey seas behind you, grey skies, cold wind. There's a lot of gravel and snow, and you are making your way inland towards the zoological research station. But maybe if you could each just introduce your character to us again, and how they're looking, how they're feeling. Yeah. Why don't we start with Diana?
Diana Gandhi Dankworth, for those of you just joining us, is a middle aged woman who looks to be she is of American and British descent. Her like celebrity face claim is Thandua Newton from Westworld, appropriately enough. She's looking pretty weather beaten. She's got a bandage around one side of her head where she got clocked really hard, and a lot of like worry lines around her mouth and so forth. She is carrying. What is she carrying? How do I open up my character
You've
sheet
got
here?
some grenades, right?
Yeah. I've got. I have a shotgun. I have a Remington, and I have some hand grenades. Apparently.
And some
a
survival
backpack,
gear,
a little
which
bit
is
of survival gear, and some other stuff. You see a cryptographic code book poking out of one pocket of the backpack, and you see a key fob hanging off of one of the belt loops of these jumpsuits that we're in.
cool. Great. And a little injured, but could be worse. Great.
Yeah.
How about Willow?
So Willow, Boar Dog Snow, was a caretaker at a home for veterans, and she's been coming in pretty aggressive to these challenges, not always successfully. She's kind of beat up at this point, but has spent like I think all of her weapons. She has one lonely little hand grenade. Had to give up the car. Very tragic. Her Hyundai pony.
Sad.
That's okay. But that was pretty fun to have. Yeah, she's tired. I mean, it was a long boat ride over here.
It really was. It felt longer than I thought. It felt like it just kept going.
But yeah, we had some really good teamwork at the last challenge. So she's tired but feeling pretty confident now that she understands that everyone wants to murder them on this island.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, Calvin Zen Summers is portrayed by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's a young man in his early 30s who looks curly hair, glasses, delicate frame, look very beat up, has a pretty bad head wound and also like a bandage around his thigh.
Yeah, you got car parts in your thigh.
Yeah, plane parts.
Plane parts.
Yeah.
My bad. My mistake.
Could be car parts as well. Who knows? But notably,
That's true.
plane shrapnel in his leg, and Calvin is pretty certain at this point that he worked for Deathmatch Island on the production crew in some capacity, in some factory or another, but doesn't know any of the nature of that work. other than he suspects deciding not to go along with whatever the company policy was is what led him to be on the island. Who knows if that's true or not? But that's what I got from my flashback last time when we were flashing back to what we remembered.
Cool.
So yeah, and he's just very wary and very opposed to the production and really wants to stick it. Really wants to overthrow them wherever he can.
Great. Cool. And so the three of you walking inland across this pretty rugged island. I think just to sort of set the mood, you do see in the distance, there's no jungle here, so you can see quite far, and you see distant figures in the pink coveralls, like running, but you see little gun battles in the distance, and there's half as many competitors here, so it's much more quiet. But the mood seems more tense. There's much more violence from the start, just because of how the last island ended. But you get closer to the zoological research station. I'll just describe the vibe, and then I'll describe what's going on, and then you can tell me how you want to approach it and what kind of capability you want to roll. Diana is the leader. I think she was best at the water treatment facility contest.
Sure.
But you can discuss it, and you can also spend trust with Diana to sway her to a particular course of action. So as you get closer to this zoo research station, the vibe is kind of like 90s, sort of 1960s or 70s zoo, like a lot of concrete and iron bars. It's kind of zoo size, several compounds, dozens of buildings, empty cages. You don't see much sign of wildlife. Derelict enclosures, looks abandoned for some years. And kind of rusting cages and like empty pools with just a little puddle of stagnant water. You see a lot of sort of experimental, like operant conditioning chambers, like with a lever. You pull one lever, you get a treat. You pull another lever, you get an electric shock, that kind of thing. So there's kind of like animal research stuff going on. I suspect that's, if there are awards to be had here, I suspect it's by participating, pulling the lever or something like that, but we can get to that later. Crumbling buildings, and finally there's just a lot of albino rabbits running around, white rabbits just everywhere. So that is the general sort of layout of the zoological research facility. And then the situation is, after the water treatment facility, the intruders left first while you opened your rewards. And the intruders are here ahead of you in their purple blazers and turtlenecks. And there seems to be a firefight going on between the remains of Quincy's alliance, maybe 10, 20 people, and these intruders. There's sort of a similar number of them. So there's kind of a bit of chaos and gunfire going on in the zoo. So I guess the question is, what kind of angle do you want to take here? You could use snake mode to somehow use stealth or deception to break this fight up. You could use social game to convince one side to back down. Quincy's side is convinced you're working for production, so I don't know how successful you'll be with them. But or you could use deathmatch and just join in on one side. You could help out Quincy's side against the intruders, or vice versa. Or you could try and just take some defectors, peel some people off the side like you've done in the past and just leave without being noticed, that kind of thing.
I would like to shoot someone. I need to figure out who I want to shoot. But these prisoner-looking guys, I do not trust them.
But
so Diana's thinking deathmatch against the intruders.
I did make a promise to help Quincy out, and have not had reason to betray her yet, so feel like I should stick to that.
Yeah.
Calvin, who is not particularly peaceful necessarily, but he does sort of protest a little bit to say, we know Abathorpe is our enemy and he's still alive. If we want to have any chance of standing up against him, we need to gain allies, not pick them off. If we can convince them that Quincy is just trying to get out of here, like everyone else is, I think we could end this fight and have more friends than enemies.
Yeah, but we know that not everyone's going to get out of here.
Yeah, but it's going to be a matter. It's going to be a numbers game, and I'm happy to. If that's compelling to you, Diana, that's cool. But if not, I am, because I just love the fact that this is a mechanic that I've never seen used before. I'm happy to spend trust with Diana to take leadership over this and try and make friends with them.
So just to go over the mechanics here, if I decide on an approach, does everyone have to use that approach?
Yes.
That's right. Yep.
But
okay. Yeah, if Calvin spends trust,
then I can decide on
just
the approach instead.
Exactly. Yep.
The thing is, whenever someone does an approach, I can say the approach is social mode and social game, and then you can be like, yeah, I'm still going to shoot people, and you can spend fatigue to bring in deathmatch and shoot people.
But I'm running lowish on fatigue. Okay, so in that case, I will. I'll go with that, but I'm actually going to. Instead of spending my advance on advancing a D8 capability to add a D10, I'm gonna increase my social game.
Oh, interesting.
Nice.
Okay, great.
Thought
Yeah.
I'd done, but yeah.
I also slightly retconned my advance last time. I previously took it to update my nickname, but I kind of hate my nickname, so I instead raised my snake mode. So my nickname.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so your nickname is
Snaky
still
side.
Judge.
No, it's still Zen. I mean, that's what
okay.
the producers gave me. I just don't want to. I don't want to advance what production gave me. So
Oh,
He's
okay.
not. He's not
How did
invested
you-
in the game.
How did you find out that your nickname had changed?
That's a great meta question. I don't know.
That is a good question. That is a good question.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, Calvin. Yeah.
I think at some point when we arrived on the island, they're like, "Welcome, Calvin,
Yeah.
Zen, Summers," and I was like, "What? Zen? I thought I was Judge. What the fuck?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's right. So okay.
right.
So you.
So let's social game this and try to intercede between them.
All right.
Who are you? So are you going to the intruders who you have some trust and relationship with and trying to get them to back down, or are you going to Quincy's side and trying to get her to back down?
I think we're doing both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to roll for the intruders just because I don't want to roll for both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can.
You could add
can
in
describe.
Quincy's name die just to make this tougher for us, Tim. And then,
Okay.
well,
I was rolling.
John, stop that thing.
by doing that, it reflects that we're trying to go for both, right?
Well,
that you
No,
can
Yeah.
You're right.
take a bigger
If
pool.
if that's harder, then let's just pick one. If there's
No, it's fine. It's not hard at all.
All
It's
right.
not hard at all. Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
not hard production.
For us.
All right. I will just roll the dice here. So you are facing off against Beckett, the intruder, and their little alliance, and Quincy, the veterinarian, and her alliance. And the intruders are merciless. They play the game hard, as you found at the water challenge. So that will be a factor here. They're not inclined to back down. But you do have some trust with them, so maybe that comes into play. I will just roll these dice.
All right.
So-
a typical production roll there.
Okay.
I'll do the. We'll announce who's in.
The contest is social game. Who will compete?
And who's in?
Oh my god.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm in.
Calvin, Zen, Summers, Chiron splashes on the screen as we see him like moving to go. He's in the contest.
Cool, great. So go through your dice thingies. That social game. You can spend fatigue to bring in a second capability if you want to bring a different angle to it. You can spend trust. You can spend acquisitions.
All right.
What's trust with Beckett worth in this contest? What's his die size?
D8.
D8.
Yeah, let's do that. I have him listed as I have random weirdo listed on my trust. I assume that's actually him.
Yeah, or possibly another intruder.
Yeah.
But,
One of the
However,
intruders.
what is your name die size? Like, if I spend trust with you, is that still a D6?
My name die is D8. Oh, we're all D8s now.
Got it.
So yeah. If you pull trust from any of, if you spend trust on any of us, we're all D8. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
We're
Sorry,
making
I'm being
peace.
slow.
This is definitely a Gandhi.
Never been more Gandhi.
Yeah.
I spent my trust on Quincy. That's okay.
And if you ever want to spend like your equipment acquisitions, like survival gear, it's just up to you. You can just spend it, and it's up to you to just figure out how that is applicable. Like it might not seem applicable to a social game thing, but maybe you share it with them, or maybe it could include even just a blanket or something.
Yeah.
You can think about it laterally.
I'll spend an acquisition. I will bribe them with food.
Great, makes sense.
Yeah. All right. I am ready
Yeah.
to hit submit. Oops.
So we'll get you all to roll at
And
once.
I just put in 1 for acquisition, right? For the level 1 survival.
That's right.
gear?
Yep. So once you get to that step, just pause. Oh, yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh, 18 again. Wow.
Woohoo!
Holy moly.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. So Calvin marks fatigue and 10,000 followers. Are you maxed out on fatigue now?
I'm maxed out on fatigue now. Yeah.
You didn't spend a weapon. Did anyone spend a weapon?
No weapons.
I did not
No.
spend a weapon.
Okay.
I should have spent a weapon, but
Well, that would, I don't know. Maybe that would have
Yeah.
made it dangerous. Okay, and Diana gets 120,000 followers, 12 boxes, and 6 for Willow, 6 boxes, 60,000 followers. Why don't we start with Kelvin? I mean, again, this is a gunfight. It's a live situation. You're trying to approach one side or the other. How does it go wrong for Kelvin?
yeah. So I spent another fatigue. That's why I'm so maxed out right now. To bring snake mode into this, I think Calvin is climbing through, he's sort of like ducked behind the concrete rubble of the zoo, and he sneaks up and he gets up to one of the Beckett's. I think he gets up to Beckett because I spent trust with Beckett as well. It's all for naught. None of this was worthwhile. But he gets up to Beckett and he's like, and he gives his plea and he has this look of like, you've got to believe me. And that's when the production uniform that he has like shoved away like sticks out a little bit, and the whole like, I heard you were with production thing, like you can just see you can see Beckett like want to agree, but then be like, I can't trust you, and literally grabs Calvin and like chucks him down into like a lion's den pit. And Calvin like crack, you hear a horrible crack as he like falls down into this pit. There's no lions there, but he's like exposed.
That you can see.
What's that? That we can see. Yeah.
Yes.
That
Yes.
you know of.
But yeah, he's exposed and beat up and like, coughs. And that was his effort and suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So while that's going on, what is Willow up to more successfully?
Willow was approaching Quincy to try to talk to her, basically saying, we just met these guys at the water treatment facility. I think that we can ally with them. Let's combine forces, and just kind of repeating what Calvin had said a little bit, but making it sound like it was all her idea. And it's basically trying to get her to like, let's call a truce, and if you call a truce, then they'll call a truce, and we can all figure this out.
I think Quincy she's skeptical when you first come up, and you can see there's a new suspicion in her eyes that wasn't there before. But you have this sort of secret alliance, so she's willing to talk to you at least. It might have gone differently if it was the others. Mm-hmm. But there is a sort of not a desperation, but like there's a hardness that's come into her, and a skepticism, a paranoia perhaps. And she says, look, just as a favor to you, if they stop shooting, we'll stop shooting. And then one of these intruders comes around the corner, and she has this pistol in her hand and just shoots them down. So they're still gunning, but
Right.
if Diana can talk to the other side, then maybe we can get a ceasefire going.
That's perfectly fair.
Yeah. So
All right.
why don't we cut over to Diana approaching the?
So, all right. So I got to talk to Beckett. Where are they?
Well, they are on the other side of the zoo. I guess they just threw Calvin down into a lion enclosure,
Right.
empty lion enclosure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're kind of on the fringes, directing other intruders forwards. They're not on the front lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Well, this was a social game. Yeah, I think I will. Zoological research. It's at the base of a hill, and then there's like some water coming out of it.
Yeah, there's a canal going up to it, sort of cutting through it. There are a lot of crumbling administrative buildings. I think they're on the roof of one of those, Beckett is, shouting at people and kind of directing things.
All right. I think I find some water so that I can like come up out of some water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe they're by the canal then.
Yeah. All right. So like, yeah. So Diana like dives into the canal, swims along until she's near where Beckett is, and then like walks up the bank and like, her hair's a fucking mess, but you come up out of water, you look good. If I learn one thing from Wakanda Forever, it's that. And so she comes up out of the water and then like kind of winks at Beckett.
Yeah, I think Beckett spins, and they have like, I don't know, a shotgun or something, but
Yeah,
they point at you cocked, but
No.
they
Yeah.
recognize you. They recognize you from the previous jump.
And Diana's
so
like,
they
"Oh,
lower
you
the
look
gun.
happy to see me."
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, it's a shame. I was going to share these delicious MREs with somebody, but if you're gonna shoot me, and I think that gets them to lower the weapon and
Yeah.
then over whatever disgusting food we have as part of the survival gear.
Beef paste or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, pink slime deluxe, pink slime code red. I explain the greater threat of Abthorpe and the fact that right now they're fighting Quincy over nothing. Why not join forces?
Yeah, and Beckett is definitely down for. Beckett seems like someone who can quickly change speed, and so they quickly go from like combat mode to just enjoying a snack and going into bachelor mode, and
Right.
they kind of shrug and say, "Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
seems fine." I mean, we're going to have to kill each other later, though, right?
Yeah, we can worry about that later on.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
You know what they say about friends and enemies. Wink.
What
Yeah,
do you
cool.
say?
That, keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Does Diana realize that like Beckett and Calvin just had this like confiltration? That
Diana
Calvin-
has no idea where Calvin is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Moments after they threw Calvin.
Yeah, I just want to say like
I
at
turned around
some
to see
point,
Diana. Yeah.
not to
Yeah,
interrupt the
yeah.
narration.
Diana was in the canal that whole time.
Yeah. So just at some point while you're like noshing or whatnot and you're chewing away, you just hear this like oh, from below and realize that Calvin's like in the pit beneath you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I don't think the intruders. They're not so convinced that they're going to sort of all join forces. They just leave.
All right.
You've convinced them as far as stopping fighting.
Nice.
So Beckett like does one of those, two fingers whistles.
Mm-hmm.
The intruders back off. Quincy is true to her word, and they sort of stop firing, and tensions kind of simmer down. Quincy gives Willow a nod of respect, but otherwise interested in reconnecting with the rest of you, given the whole production collaborator angle, and so they also leave. So you're left alone in the zoo.
All right. Secret
Okay.
alliance perhaps still intact.
It seems so.
Great.
Yeah, it seems so.
Questionable. Could be.
It seems so. Now, there are a few items. Again, Diana is still the leader, so these are kind of yours to distribute. Again, they're kind of distributed by like levers in cages.
All right.
There are. Let me have a look here. There are 3 sets of climbing gear,
Oh wow, one for each of us.
one for each of you,
Nice.
if you choose to do it that way.
Feel like one.
2 close combat weapons, and there is 1 trained monkey. It seems quite intelligent, and it seems curious, and it wants to follow you along. If you want the monkey along, you can have, the monkey will
How
accompany
can
you.
we say no to this?
It's like a
Yes,
capuchin,
yes,
little
the
spider
monkey.
monkey.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's awesome. I will take a close combat weapon. Would anyone else like one?
Yeah,
I
I
would.
don't-
Who's low on weapons?
I have a grenade. That's it.
All
And what
right.
do you have,
Then why don't
Calvin?
you take the? I have both a grenade and a shotgun, so why don't you
All
take
right.
the?
Okay.
So you take the melee weapon then,
Mhm.
Snow.
Very cool.
Who?
Yeah.
Who is the
Mine
monkey?
is a Fairbairn Sykes fighting knife.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
It's a dagger. It's a big dagger. That's what it is.
But it's a named dagger. It's got product placement.
That's a great,
Um,
great name.
Yeah.
It's
Is the monkey an advantage? An
Yeah.
acquisition? Yeah.
It's
Okay.
an advantage. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. I guess I'll write down monkey.
There you go.
Yeah, put that up in your advantages list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Great.
That
Yeah.
was
I mean,
cool.
you pretty much cleared out the area. Diana's still the leader, so again, it's Diana's decision. But you could spend trust to sway, or you could just talk it out.
I'm curious what an emergency congregation facility is. I'm very curious what that is.
Yeah.
When you really gotta congregate.
Yeah, like I'm particular. I'm curious. Is that a congregation facility, like a congregation of religious practitioners, or like a place where people just congregate in general? But then also there's this canal access gate, which gives us access to a volcano. So if anyone's really into volcanoes, we could go over there. I'm suggestible at this point.
Yeah, I'm inclined towards the emergency congregation facility as well, in part because it puts us closer to the reactor facility.
Oh yeah, yeah. You definitely want to go to the
Yeah.
reactor.
Calvin's
don't you?
troublemaking agenda.
Yeah,
And then we can circle back to the volcano.
and then we can go to the volcano afterwards if we want.
Great. All right, so let's go to the emergency congregation facility.
Great. You make your way south across the island. Are you interacting with the monkey at all, or does it just hop up on your shoulder and
I'm
away you
super
go?
making friends with this monkey.
Okay, great.
I mean, who would not be getting
Uh-huh.
buddy with a monkey?
Yeah.
And you, Diana, in particular, feel you're getting good vibes off this monkey, but I'm not sure about Calvin and Willow. Do you two trust the monkey?
Sure. I
Um,
mean, as much as I would trust any wild animal that I found in an animal
the
testing
question, isn't it?
facility, and
Yeah.
I do feel bad because it's most likely a test subject. So
Mhm.
I'm glad it's out, but I don't think it's gonna like where we go next.
Mhm.
I think Calvin looks at the monkey kind of warily, wondering if it's being tracked like everything else on this place. Does it have a little? His GPS thing broke a while ago, or has been used up, but is curious as to whether or not like it's another part of control of surveillance. So
Could be,
Keeping
probably.
Diana's like, I can't imagine us being more surveilled than we are now.
well, fair, but perhaps they couldn't surveil us anymore, but they can find other methods of control.
Like a
Sure.
monkey.
And also, there's got to be more than 100 of us, but the numbers only go up to 100. I rolled. What does being number 100 mean? Never mind.
I think that's an unanswerable question. A koan, if you will.
Yeah. So you make your way south. There's a faint smell of bleach on the breeze, which is weird. Maybe that's from the water treatment facility.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's cold. There's the distant roar of the ocean, seagulls. It's a pretty lonely walk. And you make your way to the emergency congregation facility.
All right.
So it kind of squats in the middle of this wide plain of gravel and scrub, and it's sort of a grim, polygon-shaped concrete fortress. And you can see from a distance, it's kind of open in the middle, sort of a cross between, like a polygon and open-air stadium, if you can picture that. It's a massive.
You mean a pentagon?
Pentagon. Massive five-sided. Yes, I don't mean a pentagon. Massive five-sided concrete walls and they're open on the inside. Kind of sloping outer surface. There's a defensive ditch. You can see this is clearly like a fortress area. The walls are like dozens of feet thick. And there are open steel doors, huge, big enough for multiple vehicles to go through, and a dim tunnel leading inside.
Just one entrance?
Just one entrance that you can see, yep.
Any other activity? Any other contestants visibly here?
No, not here. It's very quiet. Just the
All right.
seagulls, the wind, this massive fortress.
Nothing here but us monkeys.
Let us creep in slowly.
Let's do it.
All right, you make your way into this dim tunnel. Inside is this open-air field of grass. The grass is kind of brown. This flock of seagulls rises up in alarm and takes off, and there's just the wide battlements crusted with bird shit.
All right.
And waiting for you here is Abthorpe, who's sitting to the side by himself. You can see that where you stabbed his arm, it seems to have become infected, so he's got this kind of swollen, quite sore-looking arm. It's looking pretty worse for wear. There's no sign of other competitors around.
Could be a trap.
Yeah.
Trap. I had a moment where Abthorpe confided in me, and I don't know if I've completely lost any kind of connection with him, but it doesn't sound like a challenge has been invoked immediately. So Calvin is just going to do that head thing where I'm like, what's up? And see if his reaction is like, get him, guys, or if it's, he wants to talk.
Yeah, I think at this point I definitely, I have my shotgun in hand. It's pointed at the deck, but,
Yeah. When you give the nod thing and he sees the shotgun, he doesn't pull a weapon or anything. He doesn't give any immediate response, but he does go to get up and come closer. And he says, I'm glad it's you. Can we talk?
Okay.
Seems sensible.
It's a new one from you. What do you want to talk about?
In a game like this, it's fair's fair. I don't hold any grudges, but Quincy, the woman you're working with, she's over the edge. She just wants to win this thing. She wants to get home. It's understandable, but she's pushed me out, taken over my alliance, promised them victory.
Do you have proof of this?
He looks down at himself. He has no weapons. He's alone. He says that would I be here like this if I didn't have to be? Look, please just take me with you. We can stop it together.
Well,
Sidebar.
we just saw Quincy and I guess what was left of her group. But you said that it wasn't that many people, right?
Yeah, that was what was left of. Yeah, that's what you would have assumed. It was sort of 10 to 20 people. Although now that you cast your mind back, you don't recognize those particular competitors that she was with.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I take everyone aside and I'm like, I don't like the idea of bringing him with us, but leaving him out of our sight seems way worse.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. on just like sort of a meta level, production hasn't created a challenge here, but we can actually like force one if we want to, where we can be like, I want to like guarantee that he's actually going to be on our side rather than just come with us, and we can like force a conflict, or production can just go, no, yeah, you got it. Like we can either have them as an advantage of like Abthorpe trusts us if that's just there, or if we're not sure, we can make this a contest. It is a challenge. Things could go wrong, but we can uh, test this and have some assurity if we want to. I'm also happy to just see what happens and just say, yeah, let's bring him with us. You know, I don't need to make it a challenge, but if you want it to be, if you want to know, like he has some sort of pledge that we can believe in, we can do that.
I don't feel like I have to. I don't feel like necessarily forcing a challenge, if for no reason other than I want to see more of the island.
Yeah, cool. Agreed.
All right.
Yeah. Also, I think it makes sense for this guy to be like not totally trustworthy.
Yeah.
Like that.
To not
That
know.
checks out. Yeah.
So one of you can mark trust with Abthorpe then.
I feel like Calvin's.
Yeah, I'd like to. I already.
Do you have
They're
one
already-
trust with him? Because if
Yeah,
not,
you're already
then
best friends.
then someone else should. So that if necessary, two people can use up the trust at the same time.
Yeah.
That's true. That makes sense.
So Snow, why don't you take it?
You sure? I mean, I don't like the guy.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, why don't you take it?
I think you're the one accepting that. You're the leader right now, and you're accepting the proposal. So it makes sense for
Yeah.
you to gain
All right.
trust with him.
Cool.
Yeah, great. So there's no contest. If you search through this fortress, you'll find two lots of recon gear, which is like binoculars and walkie-talkies and surveillance gear and that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
two lots of that and one crossbow. So again, Diana's still leader because there was no contest. So Diana, how do you want to divide that up?
I don't need another long arm. So someone else should take the crossbow. Maybe Willow.
Sure, I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay. And then Calvin and I will take the Reckon gear.
Cool.
Cool.
Great.
And the final thing to say, so this is a point of interest. I don't know if you visited a point of interest before, but they tend to have little, like, they have less rewards, but little advantages. The advantage in this case is because you know about this fortress. If you win the siege in phase 2, you can force whatever enemy there is to engage with you here, and that will give you all a D8 advantage die for the battle royale. If that makes sense.
Fascinating. All right.
So if you
we
can
should-
take
we should
control
go
of
hard
phase-
on that. Seas.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
win the seas, I don't know. I don't think it's really readable on.
Sure,
Chat.
yeah, read it out.
It says if you win the seas and make the opposing alliance engage with you on here, this fortress gives a D8 advantage die to every player competitor during the battle royale stage of phase 2. Nice.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I like that tech, Tim. That's a neat encouragement to check out places like this.
Sweet.
I think Abthorpe was the only person who knew that like we went to the blinking lights, and he didn't seem opposed to it. So
No,
Calvin,
he told you that he also wants to find out what's going on and shut it down.
yeah, exactly. So Calvin, it's Dana, you're still lead, but so this is your call. But Calvin's like, I think we're all interested in finding out what's at the reactor facility, aren't we?
Right. It's also possible to go to the munitions cache.
Like, yeah,
That's actually
What
There's
are
a
those
whole
dotted
complex.
lines?
yeah. Well, that is actually an accident. I'm showing you the wrong map. That's the secret map. So you don't know that that's there.
Oh,
If you find the
is this the
if you
accidental-
find yeah, this is the classified map. If you find the right map, you can go back there. But currently, you don't.
We
know.
do not know about the munitions cache. All right.
Got it.
In fact, if I here we go.
There we go. It was all an
See,
illusion.
there's nothing over there.
You just thought you saw a
What
cache.
munitions cache? Exactly.
Look,
Yeah.
there's
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Okay, let's hit up the reactor facility then.
Okay, great. So you make your way east. You've actually, we're moving pretty fast, but you have been on the island for some hours now. I think it's early afternoon. You do have some survival gear with you. Diana's had some MREs. You're not you're probably doing a bit better than last island. But the day is getting on. As you get further into the center of the island, it's less gravel and more sort of ground cover and lichen. You see a lone penguin waddling to shore,
Oh,
Puppy.
just on its way. It ignores you.
Okay.
You. And in the middle of the island, you find this frozen black lake, and sitting astride it is this sort of brutalist reactor facility, which is basically an 8-story like concrete ziggurat, so like a stepped sort of pyramid shape.
Cool.
And as you approach there are speakers all over, and they crackle to life. And there's this barely comprehensible command, like so distorted and staticky, but it's clearly warning you away and telling you not to come any closer. It's just a recording on repeat. It just keeps playing. I assume you're going to ignore that.
Yeah.
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 Cool. Well,
Yeah, I think
why
we're
don't
going to
we...
proceed. But, wary of automated weapon defense systems and things like that. I think Calvin at some point is going to, well, we'll see it. I'll narrate it, but very likely I think I'm going to be, pulling on the little gray coverall that I took from the
Oh,
orange coverall. Yep.
that I took from the production team member.
So there's no choice of approach here. It's going to be a redacted contest as you break the rules. That does mean you can use redacted acquisitions. You can't use your regular weapons. And the contest here is against an incident response unit, which you've actually come up against before at the end of Island 2. So a couple of these vans that say keep calm on the side are going to roll up out of nowhere, and troopers are going to pour out in hazmat suits with rifles. So you are up against an incident response unit who are paramilitary and mentally conditioned. So this is a dangerous contest, and it is redacted.
The contest is rejected. Who will enter?
I'm in.
Calvin will enter the contest.
Yeah.
Yep, Willow's going in.
We're all in.
Everyone's in. Great. Go through your dice. Abthorpe's in as well, so if you want to have him help you here, you can use that trust. His name die is a D8.
Oh, wow. All right, so target number of 9. Nickname die. Going up against mentally conditioned soldiers.
What advantage die size is a production uniform worth?
I think there's got to be D10 here, right? Like it's the perfect.
I feel like it's the right thing. Yeah,
it's the perfect scenario for that.
All right. Well, I'm using it then.
What are the? I can't remember what the dice values are for the redacted acquisitions. So I have a level 1 and a level 2.
So when you get to the end with the acquisitions input, it's the number of D4s you're going to roll. So if you use a 2, you roll 2D4 and take the highest.
Very cool.
And you can use as many as you want and just add the numbers together. So if you use a 2 and a 1, just put 3 into that box.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll roll that many D4s and take the highest.
Damn.
Boom.
Oh, look at that.
Light overkill, but that's okay.
And just to sort of set up the obstacles in your way, so there are these vans and these troopers with guns, but also it's just about getting into the facility, so you don't necessarily have to kill these guys. It could be about getting around them or disabling them. They're also strange, they're wearing these gas masks and they're mentally conditioned, so maybe they can be sort of shut off or sent away in some weird way. I think one of you have a code book or something.
All right.
So that that's kind of an angle you could take as well.
All right. Let's see. So I'm going to get a trust die from Abthorpe. That's a 1d8.
Great. It's a D8. Yep.
And I'm going to spend 1 acquisition. I'm going to use this cryptographic code book somehow.
Great. Perfect.
All right. Oh, nice.
Look at that. Everyone wins. Awesome. So that is 90,000 followers for Willow, and then 5 boxes each for Calvin and Diana.
Great.
alarms going off. And why don't we start? Oh, you guys are tired. Who wants to go first, Calvin or Dan?
I want to see how Calvin uses this production uniform.
Yeah, sounds good. So
It makes sense to go first.
Yeah, so Calvin, I use both production uniform and a set of keys, which is my acquisition. And so yeah, Apthorpe's just going to see this because I'm doing it like before we get up to them. I put on this uniform, look more or less like them. It isn't like completely sold until I put on the completely like no label at all black ball cap. That's when it's like boom, I'm invisible, right? Like I just blend in with everything.
There's nothing less trustworthy than a baseball cap without a logo.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the black ball. Yeah. As soon as I put that on, I think basically all of the production team just it like they don't even recognize me, at least at first. And as we're approaching, and they kind of all pile out of vans, I think we see Apthorpe and Willow and Diana, and they're going to do cool things in a second. But for a moment, like the guy's attention are on them, and Calvin kind of like nods, like yeah, good job, and then pulls these keys out, which we didn't see until before now were car keys, and like hops in one of the vans and pulls and tears out with it and like clips two of the guys on the way
Nice.
On the way out of there. So might circle around, pick people up as needed, but yeah, I think I definitely the other ones that didn't get hit are like are perhaps not completely surprised because they're mentally controlled, but thrown off by the fact that one of their vans disappears.
Yeah, and driven by, I think as soon as you put on the uniform, like they don't even see you, as you said. So yeah, extra surprised. Yeah, cool. And so at this point, maybe they're shooting at Willow and Diana. What does Diana do?
Oh, let me see. I think so. They're shooting at us, and we're let's say we're pinned down in some location, and let's see what the reactor facility, right?
Yeah, it's on a lake. There's definitely be rocks and things you can hide behind.
Okay, great. Yeah, so there's rocks and stuff, and so we're exchanging fire, not particularly conclusively, and then I hear one of them shout like refrigerator, and I pull out the code book and I look in it, and I'm like, they're gonna try to push us into the lake, and Apthorpe's like, you have to get to higher ground. It's okay, I'll cover you. And I'm like, I'll cover you with, and then like he takes out like a holdout pistol that he's apparently had this whole time, and he like he puts his hand on my shoulder, and I'm like, what the? And so I'm running along, and he's like hand on my shoulder, like firing at them, and that gets us into a better position where they cannot like flank us and like force us into the lake, which is what they were trying to do.
Perfect. And then the best, it's War Dog time.
My theme song, I love it. Yeah, so I think we split off as they're pinned down. Actually, you should try that.
It's longer than I thought.
I'm the same way. Like I can't watch TV and actually have a conversation at the same time.
We pause quite often in our house.
Yeah, we pause a lot. So we split in two directions, and Willow is heading towards the facility to a door, and she whips out the bump key that she had gotten back at the last redacted site. She had this lockpicking tool, and she thinks, well, maybe it works on every island, and slams this key into the lock and sees if she can get in there or not. And yeah, lo and behold, it opens. So she's able to, get inside and kind of waits for everyone else and is I assume that Calvin, the van is not going to go through this side door.
No, but I think Calvin would like pull up so that the van is like covering the door. So if they start shooting at you, it'll hit the van. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if you spent trust, but like obviously I have to go somewhere with this van. So yeah, Calvin like pulls up,
Yeah, so you
scoops
would
out in
pull up
front of
around
you,
that time.
in front of it, and like uses the van as a shield. Yeah,
Yeah, and like Diana and Apthorpe will catch up, and we can all get inside.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect. You pile in. Yeah, and again, these incident response troopers kind of act sort of strangely and robotically, and they don't. Once you're inside, you're sort of left alone, and so you're left inside this huge kind of brutalist, echoing concrete space. A lot of damp concrete and green algae. It's so freezing cold on the island, but inside it's just humid heat. There's kind of a static buzz in the air. And do you split up to explore this vast facility, or do you stick together? Time is ticking on phase 1. There's not going to be any danger here. I mean, you passed the contest.
So. I think we go in groups of 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to leave anyone alone with Apthorpe, but
I'll go with Apthorpe. I don't.
Okay.
I don't mind.
Sure.
I'm like, let's go down. You go. It's this 8-story thing. So you hit the top, and we'll hit the bottom.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great. I mean, we'll get to what you find that's useful in a second, but I think Diana and Willow heading up, you find many derelict rooms, just overgrown with tropical plants. Again, it's very hot and humid in here. You find several huge control rooms, just like nuclear reactor controls, just vast banks of decade-old switches and dials and status lights.
How do they know which buttons to press if none of the buttons are labeled?
Good question.
I don't know. You just learn it, like a remote where all the buttons have worn off. You just know.
And at the very top, you find a small white room, and it's got a dot matrix printer, and that printer is printing, and it's just filling the room with paper. So,
that's good for the environment. This is very efficient. I'll go over and see what it's printing out.
It is printing out what seems to be astronomical coordinates.
Okay.
Is the next... Do we have to go to space?
Is the next island the moon?
Is the next island a space station?
And Calvin and Apthorpe you were headed down, is that right?
Yeah.
Or the lower levels at least. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're looking at the lower levels. I mean, I assume that it's, unless there's basement levels, we're gonna, we'll start at the bottom. But I also want to ask Apthorpe a question at some point while we're walking.
Sure. Okay. Well, you're going to find more of the tropical plants, and the main sort of find for you is the room just filled with these fluorescent orange slugs, like little slimy slugs. There's just millions of them on the furniture, walls, ceilings. You open the door, and just the whole thing is covered in these orange slugs.
Gross.
What's your question to Apthorpe?
I think we're just standing in this doorway looking kind of bewildered, like, do we go in? What do we do? And Calvin turns his head and he says, so why'd they let you live?
I still... the Alliance may have kicked me out, but I still had friends. Still had friends there, people who trusted me. I don't think Quincy could have taken it over and then killed me. Step too far.
Huh. Okay. Seems like if you're not someone's friend here, you're their enemy. But
short-term gains, I suppose. I have no doubts that before the island is through, Quincy aims to see me dead.
Yeah, well, you can't blame her. And I think I'm going to try.
He just looks at you.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I think we're still just sort of like testing it, like trying to see like what he's all about. Like, I want to collect one of these slugs in like a glass jar, if such a thing might exist.
Yes,
Get like a
that
stick
sounds
and kind of make its way in. Yeah.
that sounds great. So what you're going to find here is you're all going to get a tier 2 redacted acquisition. So if you want, you can make that slug your tier 2 redacted acquisition.
Yeah, I definitely want a. How did you describe it? What was the coloration?
Fluorescent orange, or
Fluorescent orange.
sort of red orange. It's the Deathmatch Island orange, but it's a slug.
I'm gonna call it a
So-
deathmatch slug.
yeah, Deathmatch slug makes sense. There's also one tier 3 redacted acquisition, and 2 assault rifles, which are off the troopers who you killed or got
Whoa.
past, rather. They're in the van.
Okay.
Oh, you get
so,
the van as well.
Okay, so 2 tier 2s, 1 tier 3.
No,
And-
3 tier 2. So you all get a tier 2. So you can all
Okay.
write that down. And then Willow is the leader, so you can distribute the stuff. But it's 2 rifles and 1 tier 3. 1 tier 3 redacted and 2 rifles.
I'm way curious about the redacted. I'm definitely taking that for myself.
Cool.
And y'all can have the rifles if you want them.
Yeah, I'll take a rifle, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Calvin, you want a rifle?
I mean, Calvin is sort of has a shotgun. So when you hand him the rifle, he's got both of them, and he hands Abthorpe the shotgun.
Oh.
I'm going to give him my acquisition, but I'd like another trust with him in doing that.
Yeah, totally. You totally take the trust. Yep.
I mean, you really can't have, I mean, I don't know how to wear multiple like. There's only one gun that goes over your shoulder. Like
Yeah.
You have to carry one. That's
yeah.
And I think Calvin should write down the deathmatch van as an advantage, since you were driving it
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll definitely
last.
take the deathmatch van.
You find the classified map of Island 2, which I have just switched over, which you've already seen. So that just has the location of the emergency munitions cache. Or cache.
all right.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's everything. Should we find out what these redacted acquisitions are? If anyone has an idea,
yeah.
you can just choose. But otherwise, you could roll for it.
Oh, I'd love to roll for it.
Yeah.
So roll 3d6.
Okay.
You can just type /roll 3d6.
Now I'm rolling my
Yes,
physical
forward
dice.
slash roll.
Roll my
roll
physical dice.
is good too.
Insist.
12 is a bright orange smoke grenade. So it's a smoke grenade that lets out this bright orange Deathmatch Island smoke.
Cool.
Okay. I got a 12.
You got a 12 as well. Why don't you re-roll that, since we just got that one?
Oh, okay. I got a 10.
10. Great. You find you can write down Geiger counter. It's like a Geiger counter type thing, but you don't think it's tracking
okay.
radiation.
Okay.
It's, it does the little ticky, how you describe that noise, the kind of,
Got it.
yeah. It's like a Geiger counter, but you're not sure what it's
Right.
tracking.
Okay. Great.
And do you want to roll again, Karen, for your tier 3 one?
Yeah. Same thing, 3d6.
Yep. Seven, cool. I think in a room off to the side of that dot matrix room, you just find some very powerful explosives. You just have a lot of explosives now.
Nice.
Of the sort of plastic explosive kind,
Very cool.
Is that everyone got their things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. I think at that point, time is ticking. You come back out into the cold afternoon. And
Christ.
it's very hard to control.
Okay. Production.
And
we hear you.
yeah, and a voice says,
Phase 2 has begun. Prepare yourselves.
And yeah, you managed to make it 4 nodes, but phase 2 has begun. Should we take a break there and then we'll
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great.
come back to it? Does that sound all right?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
Sweet.
here for it. Excellent. We'll see you all back in about 8 minutes.